that there was a meteor orbiting near the Earth. Astronomers speculate that the meteor will not hit Earth. However, if their estimates were wrong and the meteor finally hit the Earth, it is certain that the meteor would fall into the ocean, causing a catastrophic tsunami. The scene then switches to brothers named Majin and Xiaozing. Majin has a hobby of playing the lottery and hopes to win a lot of money. One day, Majin and Xiaozing attended a gathering held by the company they work for. They will go on a trip by using a sea bus at the suggestion of their leader, Boss Zhang. Long story short, Majin and her co-workers' trip began. Along the way, Majin tried to get close to one of his co-workers named Shanshan. He had indeed been interested in Shanshan for a long time, but it seemed that Shanshan didn't have the same feelings as Majin because she often ignored him. After traveling overland, the bus finally arrived at the pier. Still, on the same bus, they continued their journey by sailing on the high seas. The passengers did not waste this opportunity to capture the moment and have fun guided by the bus driver who also doubles as a tour guide named Xiao Wang. While attending an event with his friends, Majin was surprised by an incoming message notification on his cell phone informing him that he had won the lottery with huge total prize money. Majin then feels immensely happy and sings happily on the bus. However, Majin's happiness did not last long. A giant tsunami wave was heading towards the sea bus he was riding in. Because he didn't expect a tsunami to hit, the bus driver didn't have time to dodge, so the bus was rolled in by the tsunami waves and almost hit a container ship. After being tossed around in the ocean and eroded by a powerful tsunami, the bus that Majin and his co-workers were carrying was stranded on a remote island located in the middle of the ocean. Majin and Xiaozing then tried to gather all the passengers on the bus and help them find shelter somewhere because of the extreme storm on the island. After everyone had gathered, they immediately headed to a cave located on the nearest cliff from the beach to shelter the lousy weather. The next day, all passengers urged Wang to seek help via the radio device on the bus because their cell phones were not working. It turned out that the radio device on the bus could not be used because it was badly damaged in the accident. Everyone then became panicked and confused. They blamed Boss Zhang for coming up with the trip idea. The next day, Wang directed his passengers to find food supplies and clean water by walking through the forest near the beach. Wang turned out to be a former member of the Chinese military, so he was well versed in how to survive in the wild and had a sharp enough instinct to observe his surroundings. They have made various efforts to find a way out of the remote island. One of them is making a simple communication tool from radio and antenna devices that can still be used. However, this method did not work. Xiaozing tried to repair the broken sea bus engine, but his efforts failed. They also made a large signal for help to be seen from the sky, hoping for a plane to pass by and see their sign. Wang then suggested that they move to a bigger cave so that everyone could feel more comfortable and less crowded. After finding a cave large enough for everyone to live in the evening, Wang and all the passengers discussed choosing a leader while they were stranded on the desert island. Everyone agreed to leave their posts in the company and choose Wang as the leader. The next day, Wang began to divide up, finding food and clean water for everyone. On the other hand, Majin is absent from his duties and trying to find another way out of the island. He climbed to higher ground. When he reached the top, only the vast ocean stretched as far as the eye could see. No nearby islands or sailing ships were seen. Because Majin was absent from his duties and wandered around alone, Wang immediately scolded and punished him. 2 weeks had passed and there was still no sign of help coming to their rescue. Majin then invited his younger brother to build a raft so he could get off the island. Shanshan tries to prevent Majin from doing this reckless thing, but Majin insists on going for the lottery prize money, which will soon expire if not quickly claimed. Using minimal equipment, Majin and Xing managed to build a raft that was just enough for the two of them. After rowing on the high seas for a while, the brothers found the body of a floating polar bear. Majin and Xing then saw a roll of black clouds in the sky, signifying a big storm. Because it was too dangerous to be caught in a storm while in the ocean, they finally decided to turn around and return to the island. Arriving back on the island, Majin and Xing then reported the discovery of the polar bear's body to everyone. Hearing this, everyone became hysterical and desperate because they thought their world had been destroyed by the impact of a meteor that caused a powerful tsunami wave. Boss Zhang looked sad as he looked at the photo of his wife and child in his wallet. He then threw all his money in his wallet because he thought it had no meaning anymore. Everyone is desperate because no help would save them. They began to try to accept their destiny to live on the desert island forever. One day, Boss Zhang told Majin that he wanted to leave the island more than Majin. Boss Zhang also told him that he didn't like Wang's leadership because he tried to survive but never thought of getting off the island. Boss Zhang is up to something and asks Majin to side with him. That evening, when everyone gathered for dinner, Boss Zhang declared to separate from Wang's group and expressed his opinion about Wang never thinking of a way to get off the island, while he wanted to get off the island as soon as possible. Boss Zhang then asked everyone to choose whether to stay in Wang's group or go with him. Several people expressed their desire to join Boss Zhang's group, including Majin and his brother. That same night, Boss Zhang's group left the cave and went through the forest searching for a new shelter. After walking for some time, Boss Zhang's group found a shipwreck that washed ashore on the other side of the beach. They then went in and checked the situation inside the wreck, which was upside down. After confirming that the place was safe enough and more comfortable than in a cave, Boss Zhang and his men decided to make the wreck a new shelter for them. 30 days had passed since they were stranded on a desert island. Majin and Xing, who were fishing in the sea, looked happy because they thought that Boss Zhang would soon find a way to get off the island. Majin, who was in a good mood, then went to Shanshan, who chose to stay in Wang's group and invited her to visit their shelter. Shanshan looked flabbergasted because Boss Zhang's group shelter was much more comfortable than Wang's. At one point, Majin finally found out that Boss Zhang never really planned to go home. He just wanted to create a new group and establish himself as the leader. Majin, who felt cheated by the boss, finally decided to leave Boss Zhang's group with his brother. 60 days had passed. Majin and Xing's condition, who was alone, was getting worse because the food supplies had run out. They are also increasingly desperate because the lottery prize claim deadline is. Wang's group still occupied the same cave and didn't think about leaving there. Likewise, Boss Zhang's group lives are much more prosperous with more comfortable shelter and adequate food supplies. Majin and Xing finally decided to return to Boss Zhang's group, but they were instead beaten by Boss Zhang's men and kicked out of there. 3 months stranded on a deserted island, Majin and Xing had already missed the chance to take the lottery prize because it was past the deadline. They both felt very frustrated and hopeless. When their condition was weak and almost gave up, suddenly there was a rain of fish around their shelter. They were saved for a while because of the abundance of food supplies. One day, Majin devised a plan to fight between Wang's group and Boss Zhang's group. Majin incites Wang and his group about food supplies and territory. The conflict between Wang's group and Boss Zhang's group fighting for territory was inevitable. Majin and Xing were watching from a distance, looking happy that their plan had worked. They even got a chance to take revenge on Boss Zhang's men, who beat them a while ago. Majin's motive was to appear as a hero who stopped the fighting and united the two groups under his leadership. When everyone gathered, Majin then voiced his opinion and his intention to reunite them. Everyone was moved and decided to make peace after hearing Majin's passionate speech. They are all now united under the command of Majin, even though Majin had yet to find a way to get out of the deserted island. But at least they had reunited and made peace with each other. Thanks to Majin's capable leadership and Xing's knowledge of machines, they were able to live a decent enough life on a desert island because all their basic needs were met. They even managed to make electricity for lighting and other purposes. Majin and the others felt happier and more comfortable with the lives they were living right now, as it was as if they had owned their world when the real world had fallen apart. Majin and Shanshan's relationship was getting closer until they finally decided to have a romantic relationship because they had fallen in love. One night, while they were all having a party, there was a loud noise from a distance. Since it was not visible from the location of their shelter, Majin, Wang, and Xing decided to go to higher ground to check the source of the noise. Once on a hill, the three saw a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean partying with loud music and a fireworks. Finally, they realized that the world was still fine after the brunt of the devastating tsunami waves. Wang looked happy to see a ship after such a long time, but Xing looks worried and tells Majin to hide the ship's whereabouts from the others because if they go home now, they will go back to living a life of poverty, and Shanshan will leave Majin. After thinking about his brother's words, Majin finally decided to keep the facts about the ship's existence a secret from everyone. But because Wang, who was with them, already knew about the cruise ship, Majin and Xing then made Wang look crazy as if he had lost his mind due to being stranded on the island for months. Of course, everyone had more faith in Majin and Xing. The others eventually ostracized Wang. On the other hand, it turns out that Xiao Xing is slowly starting to turn into a cunning and manipulative figure because he doesn't want to live a miserable life anymore. One day, Xing managed to manipulate Boss Zhang into giving up all his treasures. Xing said that he would show a short video of his son, on the condition that the boss had to make a written statement regarding the transfer of ownership of all his assets to Xing. Because he missed his son too much, Boss Zhang complied with Xing's request. Majin, who was very angry when he found out about this, immediately slapped his brother and asked Xing not to act like that anymore. But Xing paid no heed to his brother's request. Xing instead told Majin that he had already arranged an escape plan when the cruise ship sailed back to the ocean near their island. Xing said that he would just run away and leave everyone here. After that, they would start a new life with all of Boss Zhang's possessions that he got. Majin thought that his brother had lost his mind and felt guilty towards Wang for being taken in by Xing's cunning instigation. Finally, Majin went to Wang and apologized to him. The two then devised a plan to leave the island safely, and no one was left behind. On the 144th day, when the cruise ship was about to sail again near the island, Wang and Majin planned to burn the wreck that had been their home, as a sign to send a signal for help. Majin then reveals to everyone that there is a ship out there that can save them. But people think Majin has gone mad, just like Wang. Majin and Wang were not discouraged and continued with their plan to burn the shipwreck even though everyone tried to stop them. Wang finally managed to burn the wreck, and Majin threw Xing's notebook containing the transfer of ownership of Boss Zhang's assets into the fire. Seeing their comfortable shelter burn fiercely, everyone screamed hysterically and blamed Majin and Wang for the incident. They were also involved in a fierce dispute that forced Majin to escape from the place immediately. But unlucky, Majin fell into the sea while trying to flee to a cliff. But at the same time, the cruise ship saw the great fire they created and finally came to save them all. After successfully escaping the deserted island, Xing suffers a mental breakdown due to failing to obtain Boss Zhang's possessions. Boss Zhang and his employees, who managed to return home safely after being stranded on a desert island for months, became famous. Majin and Shanshan remain a passionate couple, while Wang is now a successful tour guide by opening a tourist route to the island where they had been stranded for months and telling the story of his struggles with Majin and the others. The film ends.